Good Monday, everyone. Welcome to Garden State Weather. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith, and we are approaching one day away. At 11 a.m. tomorrow in the Northern Hemisphere on Tuesday, the 21st, we enter into our winter solstice, the shortest day, longest night, and then we start gaining back daylight hours by the minutes as we head into the cold in the heart of the Northern Hemispheric winter. Oh boy. Lots to talk about today on this Monday, the 20th of December, 2021. Now, in last night's video forecast discussion, we talked about the weather for the rest of this month into the early part of January. It's going to be a stormy, kind of changeable atmosphere with a lot of up and down swings in both precipitation and temperature across the region. Not so much here for the northern mid-Atlantic, but certainly for New England, the Great Lakes, the Rockies, the West Coast, the Aleutian Islands here. Right now, yesterday we did a lot of stuff on the stratosphere and the indexes and teleconnections, so I don't really want to go over that and rehash that, but I'm going to look at last night's run of the GFS at the stratosphere at 10 millibars, and we can see again another example where the stratospheric warming is taking place and it's trying to warp or stretch at this point the polar vortex here over the top of the pole. And if we move through this, there's another warming event here on this side and this side of the pole, stretching the polar vortex down into North America virtually piece by piece, little at a time, at 10 millibars in the atmosphere, the upper heights of the stratosphere here. And this takes us all the way out until December 20th. After that, we're dealing with a couple of things here. Another stratospheric warming event here over the top of the pole, and this is stretching this into almost two lobes here, one over Europe and the other here over North America's continent of Canada here. And this looks very interesting even on the GFS. Doesn't matter which model suite you're going to choose at this point. As we get into the latter part of this month, you can see the two lobes here. Basically, it's a stretching, but it's like one center here, another center here, and warming over the top in Europe again. So we know that this event is it's real. It's definitely real, and this is what the model guidance is showing. And then as we get into early January here, it's completely stretched, but look what happens here according to the GFS. It gets all the way over to the other side of the pole because the stretching of this new warming event here, second stratospheric warming event, is getting very strong. Temperature anomalies at 10 millibars from the CDAS here in the stratosphere. Here's our stratospheric warming event here, coming over from Europe over the top of the poles here into Canada, and then it's beginning to show signs of waxing and waning a little bit here at 10 millibars, and also if we try to get down to 30 millibars, a little bit lower in the stratosphere here, again the upper reaches, same kind of configuration taking hold here. Very strong stratospheric warming event underway here, even at 50 millibars. Latest GEFS verification for December 12th. We can't use that, that's too old. This one takes us from December 20th through January 3rd of next year. This is the last 40-day phase diagram. This is the NCEP GFS in the blue and the NCEP ensemble guidance in the green. What this is showing me is that we have either a Kelvin wave or a tropical activity moving from the Western Pacific into the Western Hemisphere in the tropical equatorial Atlantic. So if you want to see a big change to colder weather and stormier times here, you would want the MJO, the Madden-Julian oscillation, or Kelvin waves, whatever, to move in from phases 6 and 7 in the Western Pacific all the way into phases 8 and 1. We started off with the Circle of Death in December and early January, and now we're kind of stuck here a little bit in 6 and 7, but it's showing signs of getting into phases 7 and 8. I just checked the global ensemble forecast system is missing here, and also the globally biased corrected ensemble forecast is missing through January 3rd, even on the NCEP site, so that's why it's not showing up here. Let's take a look at this climate forecast systems forecast here, again in 7 and 8, trying to get into 1. So this is very interesting. This is a CFS version 2 members in yellow, and this is the ensemble in green. Same kind of thing going on though. So it's just a matter of time here. This is the European Model Guidance EMON, the Forecast Ensemble System extended from the 16th of this month through the 16th of January. It clearly shows the cycle circle of death here in November. And I got into the Western Pacific here in region 6 and 7 coming around, and probably some of this trying to get into 7 and 8 as we head into January. So the big changes are on the way that the model guidance is not even handling yet on the operational runs. Using last night's run of the European model guidance over the next 10 days across the northern hemisphere here, here is where all the snow is going to be in the Rockies and across the Sierra Nevadas and the mountains here in Washington and Oregon, and into the Cascades and into southwestern Canada, also through central and southern Canada, and also through Nova Scotia and northern New England over the next 10 days. So if you're looking for snowfall here, most of the country, excepting for these areas here, will probably not see too much, if anything. And we are still in a La Nina, and as a result of that, a ridge access here off of the southeast coast, keeping everything toasty. So if you're traveling to, it's a big travel week, obviously, for many people, being that it is Christmas time. And if you wanted snow over the next 10 days, you could be measuring it in feet across the mountains here in Washington and Oregon, the Sierra Nevadas here. You could be dealing with several feet of snow across these areas. And again, back northeast here, if you want snow, you're going to have to head up into upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Nova Scotia, and Canada. Very little here for the northern mid-Atlantic. Lots of temperature swings too. Of course, yesterday we talked about FluStar and the National Coronavirus Activity Map. It is expanding. It is. From yesterday, the day before that. This is known. And here in the northern mid-Atlantic, especially Erie, New York, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Vermont, not looking good. This doesn't look good to me. And in fact, in the Central Plains and the desert Southwest, it's expanding. Cold and flu, that's also expanding naturally under these conditions that we're in. Strep is being reported in more places now, light to moderate, and more moderate now in New Jersey, especially in central and southern coastal regions. Fever is also on the rise, especially across these areas in the darker and middle color blues here. And the flu is expanding. I don't know why this is not showing up. And the flu is expanding here, like we said yesterday. And here too, in New Jersey. Simple water vapor nationally. Here's the front that passed through the eastern seaboard yesterday and low pressure on it. Now we have an upper low that's cut off here over Louisiana. And we've got lightning strikes here in the Gulf too, so the forecast is for a lot of rain in portions of Florida and the southeast, but this is going to shear out and exit off the coast. This short wave and this one will not merge. No storm here. We'll start out with the national viewpoint here from the European model guidance from last night's run. The 6E data only takes us out to 90 hours, so here's that low and surface wave coming in from off the Gulf here into Florida with plenty of rain for the Carolinas, Alabama, Mississippi, northern Florida. You get it. Showery a little bit further south and east here. Snow across the upper Great Lakes here. And A new storm system coming in from off the west coast. We'll take a look at it on the satellite in just a moment, and you can see the variations here by height. Wherever you are, it's either going to rain, and lower elevations, a sleet and snow mixture in the middle and upper layers of the heights of the mountains here. And really, the next big thing here is on Saturday in the northern mid-Atlantic with this warm front, cold couplet coming through. And it's too warm. It's just too warm. And that rain showery activity gets out of here Friday night, Saturday morning. Snowing again. Where? Northern New England and Maine and southeastern Canada. And of course, the Intermountain West here at the highest elevations. Look at this storm system here coming in at 996 millibars. Incredible, right? But the power, the pattern doesn't really support a full change just yet. So the east is going to be warm. And again, as we head into Tuesday the 28th, more warm air advectant showers ahead of this cold front coming through. But notice this is a big change in the model guidance. Very cold air coming in to the Great Lakes and the northern Ohio River Valley area, but to the east of it, it's warm, and it's going to be rain, and that will too wax and wane off the coast as more energy comes into south of the Aleutian Islands, into southeastern Canada and northwestern United States. Everything's jammed up. It is. National Digital Forecast Database, high temperatures nationally across the country. Where it's cold, it's cold. In the blues, pinks, yellows, Florida, desert Southwest, forget about it. Notice here where all the snow and the rain is coming in. Yeah, you got it. And again, any kind of bounce down here in the northern mid-Atlantic is going to be followed by an uptick again, because any kind of storm system is going to come from here and move up here, because we are in a La Nina and the strong high pressure ridge. So if you really want pleasant weather over the next 7 days, this is where you should be. Florida, excepting today and tonight, of course. So when we look at the teleconnections here, I took the rest of the afternoon off. I needed to take some time, some sleep. We're going to look at the North Atlantic oscillation again. So this is very favorable if you want blocking to set up in the North Atlantic over Greenland and Iceland, which it is, according to the latest model guidance here. In fact, this is pretty deep here, almost approaching -3 statute degrees here of blocking. The only thing that doesn't really stand out to me is the operational GFS here, which is all over the place. Yesterday, it again was all over the place with itself. The ensemble means seem to make the best sense here, and even the operational GFS. So the PNA is going to stay in the negative here, climbing up in early January to still below normal here, but we're going to discount that. That doesn't look right to me. This doesn't look right to me either, the Arctic oscillation here, but the GFS is off on its own operational camp. The rest of the model guidance sees it moving up towards the positive in early January, but still holding in the negative. So that looks good if you want blocking. This looks good too. This is in the tank here today, the EPO, and that's because of the ridge off of southern Alaska and the low underneath it, which is an omega block, which we discussed yesterday off the Pacific coast. This looks good, and the operational models and the ensemble models here keeping it fluctuating, but still in the negative territory. This is probably on the GFS too far overdone. And the PNA, well, again, this is a reason why we're not having supreme East Coast troughing here, because the pattern is just way too fast. You need a ridge off of the Intermountain West here, and we're not seeing that in the data. And the Pacific North American teleconnection here is showing a rising motion here, but still a fluctuation into the negative. You'd want this to be here, and it's not. So unless you have that, you know, there's not going to be a lot of continuity between polar and subtropical branches. Yes, it can happen in La Nina years, storms coming out of the west and then Midwest actually, and heading up towards the Mid-Atlantic. But they, under this kind of regime, you'd see isentropic lift events where you get snow, rain, sleet, that kind of situation. And right now, that's what we're seeing. And on this Monday evening, we're seeing a lot of the vortexes here in our southern branch. Probably a lot of lightning under this too. Let me see if I can get into that. Yeah, it's probably going to show up here off of the Gulf Coast here. Here comes the rain through the Gulf right now. Multiple vortexes working its way through. High pressure right here along the Mid-Atlantic coast, keeping everything stable right now. And, well, here's another short wave here. Another one here. Here comes our onslaught of watches and warnings with precipitation coming in from off the west coast again and from off the Aleutian Islands. And if we take this off, let's go out west here and take a look at this. But it's impressive. Let's see if we can get any overlays. I don't think it shows that. Well, I think we can show it another way. Let's see if we can do that. This is a really good overview here of the water vapor channel here. Look at this. High pressure over low pressure here over the Aleutian Islands. And look at this atmospheric river here into the west coast of the United States. This is extremely impressive to see this. Upper low here cut off, ridge access here, upper low here. It's incredible to see this, but the pattern here, and this is a southwest flow aloft in the atmosphere. So here comes the showers and thunderstorms across the Gulf into Florida. Notice also here, this pattern is very progressive here. So again, with this kind of pattern, even with high latitude blocking, you're not going to get a snowstorm here in the northern mid-Atlantic anytime soon. And this here is a view here. High pressure off of south of Alaska here, low pressure underneath it. This is what we call an omega block, actually. And you can see this in the clear water vapor, simple water vapor channel. Look at all of this moisture wrapping into this on a southwest to west wind here, coming into the west coast and also into the mountains here in California. This is an incredible amount of moisture. So once again, if you want snow, this is the place to go.